Finn busts into Stitch's workshop, blubbering about watching out for the little guy who's about to come in here. He says to watch out because he's got a bomb on his head, which is undoubtedly quite volatile, and even the slightest spark would surely set it off. Stitch sees Finn's obviously in pretty bad shape, and checks his effigy. Sure enough, the thing's in tatters, but he should be just fine if he can be patched up before he bleeds to death. 8 green torsos dead.
Club's deuce. Burst in, thrusting bull penis cane. Everybody out of the goddamn way. You got a hat full of bomb, a fist full of penis, and a head full of empty. Stitch says drop the livestock knob and settle the hell down. He says, you do realize C4 is a stable explosive and won't detonate with gunfire, right? You say, oh.
Diamond's Droog. Sneak into Stitch's boutique. Drop it and get in. Don't bleed on the suits. Stitch says, huh? You admit the thought of carrying an imprisoned tailor wherever you go is gratifying for personal reasons. But in this case, keeping him alive should be useful in dealing with English later. Hart's boxcars. Prod idiots with red cheeks. This predictably accomplished nothing. Taking your smut out of hiding turned out to be a very bad idea. Now copies from the future are appearing left and right, and these clowns have their paws all over it. Slick, where the hell are you? Spade Slick. Remove Crowbar's pin. Crowbar's alive again, and a whole bunch of other stuff is different. You forgot this gang almost seems halfway competent when he's running the show. The good news is you get to kill him again. Insert and quickly remove Snowman's pin. You have no idea how much you'd like to, but even you're not that crazy. Still, kinda tempting. Hold still, Slick. Something in your eye. Everyone ceases gunplay when Snowman's around. If you kill her, you destroy the universe. Remove knife from eye. It's not a knife. It's Snowman's cigarette holder. All you know is she's gonna have a hell of a time getting it back. Give it to Sawbuck. You chuck the lance at Sawbuck, but of course it's only a flesh wound. Seems like that's the only sort of wound you can ever inflict on the corpulent lummox. Consequently, you and he both jump to a random point on the timeline. This looks to be the recent past, when Stitch and Crowbar were setting up the crates for the imminent gunfight, which was very thoughtful of them. Your goons should be showing up any minute now with the heavy firepower. For now, you've got the drop on everybody. Kill something out of rage and frustration. Stitch gets the business end of your saber rattle. He's dead, in this timeline at least. Bring knives to the gunfight. Where do you think you're going, fatty? You'll deal with him in a minute. You whip out your double-edged sword and Occam's razor. Occam's razor, Crowbar's head. Make it happen. Crowbar deflects the King of Spades into Sawbuck's unmissable carriage. You jump far into the past. Years in the past, which is to say the present for the time being, a scurrilous straggler eyes impromptu desert skirmish. He dismisses them as a bunch of ill-mannered rogues warranting no further investigation, although he gives a small nod of approval to the plain and serviceable hat worn by one of the combatants, which strikes him as an absolutely smashing display of good fashion sense. Hit Crowbar in the head. You can't kill him yet. You need him alive to return to the original timeline. You will be taking that crowbar, though. Stuff him in your deck of cards. You cram him in the war chest. Sawbuck you need to keep alive, too, for the moment. Not to return to the right timeline, but the right time. Speaking of which, where's Tubby think he's waddling off to now? Just go stab Sawbuck until the time shenanigans stop. You treat him to a bit of the old bait and switchblade. You appear in the future. You guess this is after the gunfight is over. The gunfight that never took place since you killed/kidnapped everyone who was supposed to be involved. Looks like only Boxcars is here. Carry Sawbuck like Titan Atlas would carry the world. You order Hearts to drop his tub on the double before this fat lard puts you in a wheelchair. If you take Sawbuck back to your own time and kill him there, that should save you the trouble of hunting him down. Might as well take Stitch, too. Maybe. You're not really sure if that's how it works. You don't really care, though. You dump them in the wrath tub, then stick the tub in your own deck of cards. But you give Boxcars back his sordid literature, which he'd carelessly left in plain sight. No one will ever catch you leaving your smut around, and even if you did, that copy of Terrier Fancy magazine could belong to anybody. No one could prove nothing. Stick Crowbar's pin back in again. You go back to your original timeline, but now, stuffed in your chest, you've got a live Crowbar from another timeline, brought to the timeline where he's supposed to be dead, so you guess now he's alive in this timeline, which is in part defined by his death? Okay, whatever. You should probably just kill him again anyway. Also, Sawbuck from another timeline is in here too, so you guess now there are two Sawbucks? This is getting kind of dumb. You open the chest, releasing them both. Crowbar doesn't look too pleased. You deflect his gunfire into the awesome gravitational pull of Sawbuck's astonishing girth. Everybody into the past. You dodge his next round, too. It seems Sawbuck from this timeline, i.e. the real Sawbuck, was in this room at this point in time. He and Crowbar exchange bullets. Off they go. They no doubt go on to spend the rest of their ammunition peppering each other throughout the timeline, destroying all these clocks in the process between now and the present. You guess that explains the mess when you got here. Thank God you figured that out. You'd have surely lost sleep over it. 20 out of 107 clocks redestroyed for the first time, eventually. You know what? Never mind. Take a moment to think up some time-based one-liners. Okay, you think you got one. Time travel sure can be a double-edged sword. Wait, that was awful. Really, really bad. You're sure you can do better than that? Let's see. Sorry to... No. Time's running... No, wait. Fuck. You ask yourself from the past for a little help. Time's... Something about time? Time being up? No, wait. How about some kind of clock pun? No, damn it. Will you just listen? You were almost onto something. Time is... screw this. Too many cooks in the kitchen. Oh, and just what does this quivering mound of blubber think he's up to? Stab first, utter puns later. Just as you hear your past self asking what happened to your eye, you jab Sawbuck with your butterfly effect knife. You remember a little while ago asking yourself about your eye, and not giving yourself an answer just before disappearing. Maybe if you stopped and thought about it for a second, you could have warned yourself and avoided the whole mess, albeit in the process of creating a paradox. But your strict policy of stabbing first and answering questions later prevented it. You're sure your past self understands/understood. You are sure of this because you very clearly remember understanding/understooding.